Alrighty, we're going to give it a shot here. We are now officially broadcasting on Twitch, so I'll send that link out after I put this video up. So if you want to join us going into the new year here for the next, I guess, basically 2 weeks, you're welcome to join us. I just have to come into the Twitch channel and follow, and you should be in. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening here. Obviously, today is quadruple witching day, so we have all of the options and futures contracts expiring today. Let's go ahead and jump back to yesterday and see what happened. Now, yesterday, after that big sell-off, not surprisingly, was a very sideways day, right? So here's the whole snapshot of the day. That vertical line is the open right there, and you can see basically not much going on. I think we got more actual movement to the downside in the overnight session here, right? So let's take a look at some of the details here. There were, despite it being a pretty sideways day with a bunch of chop, there were a lot of rotations right off of our levels. What do you know? Another day, another nearly perfect rotation off every level. So we have the high of the day, basically, and get this. So we had the high of the day, basically right off of the top roadmap level here at 6,002. I gave this number out to my members yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I want to say. And so that ended up becoming, we sold off through it, right, on the big sell-off. They came to 6,002 and got quite literally like a 2-point bounce off of it, maybe 3 points, and then it kept going. We were in a big sell-off, right? But coming into yesterday, they came right to it, and that was basically the high of the day. So I'm glad I sent that level out. And as you can see from there, where are the biggest bounces of the morning right there, right off of that next roadmap level. Then they get down below and start to sell off. And what do you know? There is the first tag of the back end of the 200 moving average. In this case, let me just zoom in and see. I don't know if there was an actual sexy little divergence right there. And I guess technically from that last swing, major swing high, there was, right? So a little bit, not necessarily my favorite divergence there, but there's the first tag of the 200 on the pullback from the roadmap level that we gave you yesterday or the day before yesterday. And then we come down, and this level right here, 62.5, I was toying with making it an official level. But because I had a official level sitting here at whatever it was, 59.75, I was a little weary of putting two levels so close together. But I did note it on the chart, and I think I have this on all charts. No, it's just the 512, but it should be on all charts. That right there, to me, was also a very relevant level, even though it was just like 2 points away, 2.5 points from the other. And that ended up being right where that rotation was. And then you can see came right up, failed just in front of that roadmap level, which was the morning support, right? And then they came down, and there's a couple things I'm skipping, but I'm just kind of highlighting the major rotations here. And then you can see the end of the day, what is the low that leads to the bounce? Well, unfortunately, we missed it by quite literally 2 ticks, but we have the hold down here, 2 ticks in front of that bottom roadmap level. So market chopped around all day, basically right inside that area, and then came right back. And there's the to the tick kiss for a nice 10-point, 12, 13-point pullback right to where you would expect the market to bounce from, right? So we hold here, comes up, comes right to that next level, pulls back, and then that right there, my friends, would be exactly where I would have told you if we were together here to go ahead and take profit. Maybe not at 72 even, maybe a point in front of it at 73. You would have nailed 85 to 73 for a 12-point sell-off, right? So nice little scalp there. And then they had to throw a wrench in the gears, right, and come right back, probably take all that liquidity out from all the sellers right in there, and then brought it right back down to where everyone expected it to go, right? So still basically holding that level, peak through by 2 points, and then we got the pullback from there, right? So there's a long opportunity to the tick right there. That, again, zero risk, went over 10 points right back to that expected resistance. And then when the market began to sell off, what do you know? We start to get that stair step, right? So it holds the back end of this one, gets below there, holds the back end of that one to the tick, right? And we see these to the tick holds all day long, and then comes down through the next roadmap level, bounces off the roadmap level below that, and comes right to the back end of that next roadmap level. So there is your textbook. One by one, they missed this one, right, at 70, but one by one came down, got through the next one, held it nearly to the tick for the pullback, easily make a good 10, 12, 13 points in that pullback. And then towards the end of the day, here's that relevance once again of the 62 half level, right? They came back to it. I actually watched this right here as it was happening, and I was tempted to pull the trigger on a trade, but I told myself to control myself here. But sure enough, it did work out for beautiful. I would have got 17 points out of it with the 3 contracts that I do put on typically. And then at the end of the day, you see just an attempt by the bulls to recover a little bit, basically bringing it right back to where we opened, or I guess not, never mind. But came back up, and you can see on the way back up, what do you know? They pull back right to that 200 moving average, which was also our hopeful here for that final push at the end of the day. And as you can see on the push up, nice hold off the FMA the whole way. And then there's that pullback right to the top end of that roadmap level and the VWAP and the fast moving average for the last 4 or 5 point pop at the end of the day. Now I didn't mention a couple notable things here. We looked at all these notable rotations. There's one I don't think I highlighted either, where we came right back to the tick to the back end and then sold off for 20, 30 points, 25 points. But coming here right out of the open, as the market was trying to break out through this scaffolding around 85, here's the open, here's the pullback, and look at that. And we were watching this actually. We did a broadcast, and we were actually watching this happen in real time. And we saw it come right down. Look at how much divergence is going on from that previous swing low right to the 200. And then we get the bounce. So out of the open, you had a perfect opportunity. In fact, I was talking to my members, and I probably would have went ahead and put a trade on right there and would have basically got my 17 points in two accounts and made my money for the day and could have walked away. But there were, again, all these other great opportunities in here. So that right there was beautiful. And then I kind of mentioned it in passing as this was selling off right to the 200. Or actually, no, we kind of scrutinized that, right? So lots of good opportunities. Yeah, sometimes things don't work. Sometimes they don't work a couple times. But we can see that when these levels work, you know your risk. So that's why I barely even take any risk on my trades. Because most of the time we come into a level, we hold and we go, and that's what I want to see. If I don't see price come into a level, bounce out, I don't want to be in the trade, because I know that's the type of trade I want to be in. I want to be in a trade that comes to my level and bounces out from it. If it comes to my level and then starts to meander around and peek into it, I don't want to be in that. So I'm going to get in. I'm going to hope for the best in the trade. If it doesn't work, oh well. And if it comes back to my entry, I just have to accept I'm not going to take additional risk. That's just how I manage my trading psychology. So that was basically how the whole day went, right? We saw this final little whimper by the bulls to try and break out higher. And then into the overnight session, it was just a continuation of the sell-off, right? Up until about an hour ago. So we've got a lot of good short opportunities in the overnight session here. We came down holding the back end of VWAP the whole way down. There is basically a double top with a very slight bearish divergence off of the VWAP to the tick. And if you got in short there, especially understanding that we were in a heavy market, we gapped down, we were now holding the back end of that roadmap level, the VWAP, and there's the double top with the bearish divergence. If you got in, you took no risk off VWAP. I think one tick of risk, and you could have went to bed and woke up to a 40-point winning trade if you had some runners on there. Now, if you missed out there and you missed out on that first tag of the VWAP, which would have been a very risky trade, you also got the textbook setup off the back end of our roadmap level here, right? Now, in this case, we did not get a divergence. I take that back. We did. So you get this peak into the level by one tick. That is the structure right there. Here's RVI. Look at where it was back over here, right? From that last swing high. Obviously, divergence in a bearish market, selling off, tagging the back end of a very, very good level. That is our scaffolding level. So another opportunity to get short and make yourself another 15 points to the downside, or even more, right? 25 points to the downside. If you miss that, we even had another opportunity with a big bearish divergence off the fast moving average going as we got closer here to 10, 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast, right? So just so many good little opportunities. You can try them. You can take on just a tiny little bit of risk. And if they work, you get yourself a nice trade. If they don't, then you take a small loss or you take a break even because it comes back. That's it. That's the name of the game. That's how I've been making some decent money for the last couple of months, just being very, very, very careful about my risk and kind of nailing these structures, or whatever you want to call them, fractals in the market, so that I don't have to really take much risk at all on these trades. So 2 trades I marked here from this morning as I was putting my news report together. First trade was right here. Look at that. We're selling off all night. Of course, when I choose to get in, right, is when the market doesn't sell off anymore, right? But check this out. We keep selling off. But by the way, in this overnight market, we did come down and basically hold the roadmap level at 91 and here at 83. Not for much. You might have got an 5 or 6 point bounce right to the fast moving average. But we did have those holds. And then look here, my friends, at this beautiful bearish divergence as we were continuing to sell off. Like if we zoom in here, we pop up, we get the slightly higher high. Look at that doji, look at that bearish divergence. Great opportunity for a short, right? So all that. Now I came in this morning, we had just bounced. In fact, I opened my charts and we were bouncing right here. So if I wanted to, I could have blindly just bought here in the context of this heavy sell-off. And again, I would have taken a trade with about 1.5 risk. And look at how far we are now, up about 40, 50 points above there now in just the last hour, right? So many good opportunities. But here's my trade, right? We came up. We came into the 200 here with bearish divergence in a downtrend. I don't know if it was the first tag of the 200 per se, but yeah, pretty much. And I didn't get filled because I was watching it and then I was doing something on my screen. The next thing you know, I look and we had already pulled off the 200. I probably should have just put the order in right there and I would have nailed it, but I didn't. So eventually I got in right there at 84.5 and I was able to get my 2-pointer off. But I was not able to get my 2-pointer and my 5-pointer, but wasn't able to get the full thing. So I got a little trade there, and then a little bit later, as I was continuing to do some pre-market stuff, I noticed we were down here, pulling back. I actually tried to trade right here, and I got 2 points out of it, and then it rolled over. I don't know where I got filled in here, but I was able to get 2 points, rolled over, and then here I entered again, and I was able to get I think a 2-pointer, 5-pointer, and then the whole thing rolled over, and it came right to my entry, right where my stop was, and took me out on the rest of my position. So I was able to get a couple good little trades here, and again, it's just trading around all these little structures, getting in as soon as I can where that major swing low or swing high is, and seeing if we're going to capture one of the next rotations, right? So hopefully this is helping. I've been spending a lot more time this week just going through, hey, where did I get in? Why did I get in? How much risk did I take? This should help you guys in orienting yourselves in the market. And we kind of just see this stuff happening all day, right? So anyway, that was the review. We kind of spent a lot of time, but I tried to help you, show you how to find trade setups in this kind of stuff. We didn't really get enough time to do a big review for the morning to go through all the high time frame stuff, but I'll just leave you with this. We are obviously in, I've got like a minute to say this. We're obviously in a very heavy sell off right now. I want to point out that if you look to the left in the chart, right here, this major swing high, interestingly enough, that's where we came to, and we're getting probably nearly the largest bounce so far, right? This was actually the biggest bounce coming out of yesterday's sell-off, or 2 days ago sell-off, but pretty extreme bounce now right off of that structure right there. So this might be a good low for now. We do have an hourly bullish signal down there, and we do have the daily showing potential for a bullish divergence. If this was to close and start to curl, we would have a bullish divergence there. So we do have some clues for the bulls to try and bounce the market out as we get to the open here. Just understand that we are in a heavy market. So at some point, if the bears jump in here and they start to hold things down below Hopeful and down below the moving averages, well, now we may be in a continuation to the downside. So we'll leave it at that. This was just we didn't have the full 30 minutes because we had some technical difficulties. But we'll try to do these broadcasts on Twitch now. And then I'll leave my charts here to run all day in case you don't have these charts set up on your computer. And try to invite as many people in as we can to try to get some interest going into 2025. I don't know if that's going to really work or not, but figure the more we stream on here, the more people invite a couple people in. Since it's free, maybe we'll get some additional interest. Might work out better than being in our little private little corner in Discord where you need to get invitations and all that kind of stuff. So we'll give it a shot until the new year and then regroup going into 2025 for the next season. So talk to you guys soon. Have a great weekend, and I will hopefully be seeing you beginning of next week before Christmas. So talk to you then. Take care.